created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, hi, hi. So we didn't let Katya drink her water today. Not the best timing, but I have already entered in the description of all videos that live videos can always run into some. This one not a problem, but some funny things may happen along the way, and this is the case for today's transmission. Before we proceed, because we are going to have a very interesting, we think as the previous programs, just before we proceed to the content of today's, I would like to take 1 or 2 minutes to share with you. As we all know, you may be watching this video very close to the time of the transmission, or for our friends listening to the podcasts. I wish to thank people in the podcast a little later. I just don't want to interrupt the main idea. So I'm not sure when you will be listening or watching this video. So probably you will be still have contact with this content in this March. Today is March the 8th, 2022. But maybe you will watch it at a year or 2 years later. So the situation may be different. But I wanted to bring your attention because our slogan is that we may have different points of view, but we always need to be respectful. The current context of the world for the past 2 weeks, around 14, 18 days, you may be aware, I insist if you're watching or listening it very close to March the 8th, it's the war in Ukraine, and I understand that people may have, for his own circumstances, be in favor or one or the two parties that are involved. Of course, I think we all disagree with war and having people killed. But I want to call your attention to what I read at the beginning of the week. And it is the case of Anna Netrebko. I think most people know who Anna Netrebko is. I read that unfortunately all her performances at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York had been cancelled, provided that she refused to openly challenge her president's intent, the position of Russia in the war. So as a result, all her performances have been cancelled. And I read that it is the same. It was published yesterday at the Liceo de Barcelona. It happened the same situation. Her presentations had been cancelled. I have been through the comments, and what I read is very, very, very unfortunate. I would like to call your attention that when we are performing as artists, as singers, we are not political activists of any kind. We like people, we love music, we like to have presentations. So to drag artists into these very unfortunate times of war that we are living is simply not fair. If the people you are referring to is not openly politically active, you should not demand a singer or an artist or an athlete to go open and be in favor or against someone, because you are causing so much trouble to someone who is just living for the art. I would also like to insist that it would be very greatly appreciated if you could refer to Anna Netrebko as the artist that she has been. You may or may not like her art, so let's keep all our comments on whether we like her performance of Lucia, if we like her Traviata or anything that has to do with the artist, but please do not involve her family, do not involve her nationality into this sort of trouble, mainly because it is very unfair. And so please, let's be all respectful with the artists that you have in your own countries. And as I said, it is our slogan that we need to be very respectful of each one's position. I understand that everybody has a position on this very unfortunate situation, but please, unless an artist goes openly activist, please do not put them in that situation where they are confronted to something that they even shouldn't be managing, because it is not something that they provoked, and there is nothing they can do about it. So please just leave them there. I read the same unfortunate situation for a university in Italy who has forbidden the studies of Mr. Fyodor Dostoevsky, which is very unfortunate because he's one of the most important literates in the history of Russia. Please do not take it on any person who is not directly involved in this war. And with that being said, I would like to wrap up my comment. Please respect everyone's thoughts, and eventually this will be resolved by the parties who need to resolve it, which will not be the artists. Okay, so thank you for paying attention to those 2 introductory minutes. Now let's move ahead. I was telling you that I wanted to thank people in the podcast. I read the statistics, and looks like people in Europe, mainly in Norway and Sweden, have started to become loyal to the only audio version of this. I really want to thank you for that. Moreover, that you have already heard the material of program 2, which had this problematic audio. So thank you very much for having continued to listen. And also, I wanted to remind you that as we are transmitting live, things may happen, things may derail. So we appreciate that you understand. We do it with the most pleasure. Okay, enough introductory. Today's topic is something that we are all going to enjoy a lot, because today's topic is when the opera, or when singing is art, or may fall into the category of acrobatics, or may even be a circus. I am about to explain that difference now, and many people may not know. When you read the score sheet, the music sheet, as it is written, singers take some liberties, sometimes too many liberties, but the difference between what is written, the some liberties, and too many liberties is, from my perspective, what makes the difference between art, acrobatics, when people like to see a high note, a long note, and a circus, when the thing that is being actually sung does really not resemble to what was written. But there is still this adrenaline in the singer and in the audience. We are going to be today providing several examples around it. And as you know, we like to open with music, and we like it more when Katia is who is opening the music today. I understand that she's about to share with us something that she shared a couple of programs ago, but today we will be listening to variations. So maybe, why don't we start listening to Katia's rendition of what is actually written on the score, and we make a pause, and then we call the attention of the listeners to what the variations are. So if Katia has no objection, let's go for what is actually written, and that maybe not anybody or hardly someone knows.
Okay, it's a kind of challenge to try to find the differences.
Yeah.
Tornami a vagheggiar e solo volamar quest'anima fedele, caro mio bene, caro, tornami a vagheggiar. Tornami a vagheggiar what we can find in our sheet score.
But as we have mentioned also in previous programs, sometimes that is not enough for the singer. So
never, never know.
so they say maybe we add something here, we take this note for longer, and that's what is we are about to listen with Katya's voice.
The differences.
Yeah.
But before I start to make this second part with variations, I would like to add that sometimes in the case of Baroque period arias, it's usually to find that we have a structure, a music form named sonata, where you find A, B, A. It means in music, for those who are not musicians or not very approached to some music words, it means, or it refers to A as a part of our area where you expose an anatomical state, an idea. Then there is a B part that it's usually the opposite, or it shows or exposes another idea, another feeling, and then you return to A, where the composer tries to make you remind A, but with some differences, or the freedom to express as a singer some variations. So in this case, A is as I sang in this moment. Then we have B. I won't sing B.
I understand, yeah.
And then we have A with variations, and it's kind of this. Tornami a vagheggiar, tesoro volamar, questa anima fedele, caro mio bene. Tornami a vagheggiar. Tornami a vagheggiar. E solo volamar, e solo volamar, questa anima fedele, caro mio bene, e solo volamar, questa anima fedele, caro mio bene.
That was so very interesting. I have never heard those variations, and I think that this is exactly the right time so that this is going to be today's dynamics. I am going to be sharing with you on the screen, and everybody has to vote on whether that one that we shared is art, that is pure acrobatics, or that is closer to a circus. Maybe the criteria is when, as I was telling you before, too much. This was too much, so it resembles more to circus, or it just looks like acrobatics that people tend to like for excitement, and art, which is usually what people don't like because it does not have the pyrotechnics that acrobatics do. So, of course, part A, I like it, and I like it a lot. Part A for me is art. The A with the variations, I am not sure. I am somewhere stuck between acrobatics and a circus. Don't you feel that it may be a little too much? What do you think?
I think that that you have to find a middle point between I can't make my ideas part of the music piece, but always trying to respect the composer original idea. Like you just said some minutes ago, you can't do something that is totally different of what was originally written or created. As an artist, because singers, we are artists, as an artist, you can be creative and you can and have to make your own version of each piece of music. I think that is part of being a musician or an artist, to put your seal on it, your personal seal on the music you do or you perform. But it can change a lot.
But you didn't answer my question. So, A, with the variations that you presented, you feel like it is acrobatics, it looks good, or do you think that maybe those variations were too much?
I feel it is an acrobatic question.
Acrobatics.
An
Okay.
acrobatic.
Remember, if
Yeah.
you're watching or listening it on the main platforms for podcast streaming, it is also for you to vote. And we are not asking that you say, Katya said it is this, it has to be this. Ricardo said it is that, it has to be that. No, we are respectful of everyone's points of view. We're just sharing what our own thoughts are. Okay, so let's go for another example. And I would like to mention the very, very, very well known in the field of opera. I would like to mention very quickly that hyper famous. It was an E flat, that hyper famous E flat in the performance of Aida by Maria Callas, Mexico, 1951, at the end of the concertante. People who don't even know where Mexico is, but they know about that E flat at the end of the concertante. It is very impressive when you attend that size of a concert hall. It is very impressive when you are 120 meters from the stage and you think of a singer who in front of that with the choir fortissimo, all the singers in fortissimo, the orchestra in fortissimo, and manages to give that note and you can still hear it. So I really understand the excitement, and when you listen to the applause and everybody goes mad, wow! And that it has been repeated by few other singers throughout the past 50 years, but people still is like electrified when they listen to the original version. So, time to vote. Is that E flat art, acrobatics, or a circus? Of course, the note is not even written. I think there is a B. Well, for people who don't listen to music, that is well below the E that Maria Callas sang. I maybe to help you have an opinion, I will tell you what Maria Callas said herself in one interview from those performances. She said that was not art. She said, I did what I was requested to do, knowing that that was not art. So she herself eliminated art out of our voting. I am stuck between the acrobatics and the circus because the circumstances that she was having they quarreling. The tenor and the soprano were quarreling about who sang louder. So and there were people with the excitement of paying her for giving that note. So there is too much around it. So I tend to think that it is closer to a circus than to acrobatics. Those are my thoughts.
I would like to vote.
Yeah, what is your vote?
My vote is circus because there is not there's no way to justify.
Well, people pay a lot.
Like I said about Tornami Abagaja, there is a B and A again, and you can and you have to do something different, and you can propose and you can experiment, so you can justify. But if it is just about, well, I think because I can, and I will make an unwritten note because I can, for me that's circus.
Okay. Yeah, I am somewhere between acrobatics and circus, closer to a circus. But I would like to call your attention because if you Google it, you will find 1,000 places where everybody has an opinion on the flat, if it is better than the one she sang in the 50s, why she never tried it later. So too many lines written about around that note, very few about how artistic that was. But what I wanted to call your attention to is that please listen to the complete recording of that performance in Mexico City. Because when you listen to the complete performance, you really, and for singers, it will be more obvious. I can feel that each singer is trying to surpass the other. So much attention is paid to what Maria did, what the tenor was trying to challenge her. But when you listen to Giuseppe Taddei, I think it's Taddei in that recording singing a Monastro, and Doralia Dominguez, our Mexican contralto, singing Amneris. Amneris is doing things extremely difficult for the other mezzos to come. She really takes on the challenge, and she is also singing something so very out of place. So when you listen to the whole recording, you see that they are trying to kill each other metaphorically on stage. My volume, my power, my notes, I have better read, so it is, but it is just excitement. That is not close to what Maestro Giuseppe Verdi wrote. Let's go for the next example. And this time is going to be about a coloratura, so Katia is going to have an opinion on that. Many people are aware of Mado Robin, this French singer. Her Lucia, you know that sopranos usually go crazy at some point at the opera, go crazy. Moreover in Donizetti's,
But just on stage.
well, just on stage, of course. Thanks for the for the comment. So Mado Robin sings even higher than the Queen of the Night. She goes for a B flat. That if you listen to the recording, which is also available on YouTube, is also very impressive. But I mean, you hardly ever listen to a note like that. Maybe you don't even know that it. I know that popular singers have some things like that because people say, but Mariah Carey sings with whistle voice and things like that. But I am talking now about educated voices, just as Mado Robin's. So, time to vote. Is that stratospheric note, art, acrobatics, or circus? My opinion is very clear. Circus. Katia, what is yours?
Circus.
We finally agreed.
I would if I could. I have to be honest. I would if I could. But that's the reason, because of circus.
Yeah, you have to understand that note comes out of nowhere, and she does it just because she can. But
yeah,
it is not even in the style of anything. So sorry for those who love that rendition and write many.
It shouldn't exist.
Yeah. So we already voted.